Hey, buddy, I got buddies. I got popcorn because apparently we're in store for a Becky rant on Westworld. She has notes. So we just got done reviewing Game of Thrones, but then we talked about how passionate, the last time Becky was passionate about having some opinions about something, it was Westworld Season 2, which I loved.
I had
problems. I had problems with it, but I really love Westworld. I love the concept, the setting.
So Westworld Season 1 was amazing. It was really well done.
And it stands alone as its own story if you want it to end there.
Please.
You can end it right at the last season, pretend that's it if you want.
Oh man, it was just so cool. The whole concept of their side of the story and the loops, and oh man, it was so cool. But then we watched Season 2 and I hated it. So
hated. Like no redeemable? Tell me what was redeemable to start. What did you like?
Ed Harris. His character was incredible the whole way through.
Man, I'd fuck that guy.
Yeah, man. I know. The story with his daughter was interesting. I didn't love her character, but
I liked her, but
I don't know. I thought that the development and stuff with them was interesting. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Robert.
Robert coming back. You liked it when he would have his quick scenes?
Yep, I thought that the Robert stuff was interesting, and
I loved the back and forth between Robert and him. Like Robert, who doesn't exist, he'd be like, Robert, "You're not tricking me, Robert."
Oh yeah, totally. Ed Harris and Robert.
Yeah. As Ed Harris, slowly his character just gets more and more undone.
Mm-hmm. But. Okay, and we're going right into spoilers.
Yeah.
The fact that Lo was a robot was surprising.
That who was a robot?
Lo, that guy. You know that guy. The fucking guy who,
guy with the glasses?
Yeah, Bernard.
Lo. Why'd you call him Lo?
That's his last name.
Oh, okay. Bernard.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is a pretty good impression. Yeah, he is a pretty tortured soul.
The entire fucking second season is him so confused and
yeah, I mean, it's pretty rough what he has to
I don't care.
He had to reprogram himself.
That shit went on for way too long.
Okay. This is like a hit piece. It's like blow by blow.
Yeah, man.
All right. First of all,
Dolores' monotone voice made me angry.
Okay.
I hated
So it got on your nerves.
Every time Dolores came on screen,
she overstayed her welcome.
I got fucking mad. I was like,
no,
yeah, I get it. You have this chip on your shoulder and you're so...
Well, that's Wyatt talking, not Dolores, though.
Fine, I fucking hate Wyatt. Worst.
Okay.
I hated how vindictive the chairman woman was for seemingly no particular reason. You brought this up, and then I was like, yeah, for real. Even though she was the one that fucked up and is most likely gonna get fired.
Yeah, she seems to be I'm in control here.
Why is she reveling in all of this going down?
She's like, all right, let's get this done. She's acting cool, even though it's all her fault. She's a CEO. It was her job to not let any of this happen. You're fucked, lady. Stop acting like you're big shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Next. Oh, fucking Ellie character.
Who's Ellie?
She's the one that Bernard strangled. The one that's so poorly written. Every line of hers. I was like...
Well, I've talked about how it feels like the characters are written by two different teams. The ones that do everything to do with Robert, the main plot, the only plot that matters, is written by one team. And then all these ancillary characters that are just there to act young. The modern day characters, everything from the park security guy to the fucking CEO girl to like the
She's just
security.
like hot and doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, and then the girl that you just talked about that got
Shut up,
strangled that
Ellie.
has the sort of like that's tight-lipped and like
Yeah.
the one who kisses the girl in the first scene she's in.
She did?
Yeah, she kisses the robot. She kisses the crazy,
yeah.
the weird one. Yeah, it's like they're written by a different
It was
team because their writing is
it
so
was
bad.
super flat and
It's action movie style. Their punches, their little punchy like
Yeah.
jabs that they put in there.
ugh, terrible. Okay, and then I loved Ed Harris. Every scene with him was basically gold.
And Harris, that was just I was just waiting for all his scenes like every time because
That's all I was watching for, was for like Ed Harris's story to be played out. And some Robert stuff I
At the top-
was interested in.
I said I loved it, but really what I really love is just the overall plot, and that's what I was all in for. I was waiting through scenes just to wait for Robert and also Ed Harris's scenes. What's his character name?
Robert? Or
And I
Ed
just wanted to
Harris's?
know how
William.
it all like what, because I never saw the original, I never read the book, so I wanted to know what's the end game. What was Robert's end?
It was
plan?
all about Maeve. People were talking about how much they loved Maeve.
No, Maeve was bad.
And I was like, she's fucking terrible.
Maeve was great
She was
in first
amazing
season.
in the first season.
Her motivations
Phenomenal
made sense.
in the first season.
Yeah.
Second season,
Watching her figure it all out and stuff, and she could have been this epic, amazing character that like went off to like do cool shit in the real world or whatever, but instead she like gets held back, and then it just becomes a super heavy-handed like motherhood is stronger than like anything type of
Yeah,
thing.
I
Like
guess
it
so.
even simulated motherhood is the strongest thing. Like these people's feelings are programmed, and so like, but they're like, you would have done what any mother would do. You know more than anybody. You can see, you're Neo. You can see the code. You know this is fake, right? Like,
yeah.
these are fake emotions. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, they ruined Maeve's character. She went from being this really cool, edgy, like, clever, had genuine good quips, to this character that had, like, action hero quips and, like, really hackneyed old, like, at least they acknowledged it at one point where she's saying to the writer guy, she says a line about, like, something like looks down at his dick and then looks at him and says,
And he's like, I wrote that.
yeah, he's like, I wrote that
How many
line.
times
And
does
she's
he
like,
say that?
she's
At
like, and then
least
she said it
twice.
was kind of contrived or kind of
Yeah.
trite. It's like, thank you for acknowledging that all of your fucking writing in this show is like contrived and trite, but like maybe they could make that as an excuse for all these like the Japan scenarios.
She was strong and amazing in the first season.
Yeah.
I will agree with that.
And then in the second season they ruined her. She just became this like every scene ended with her with just being like, all right, let's get them now or something, like looking like cool.
Yeah.
It's like you just went through like every scene was a sequence of her being in control, completely out of control, barely gets by the skin of her teeth, then back to acting cool like she's never been on the ropes before, like had a chance of like being scared. It's annoying.
And so many times they kept having like these moments of exposition, and then the character giving the exposition. The character.
Becky hated this.
So they give a whole bunch of exposition, this one character, and then the other character who had the authority would be like, it's not quite like that.
And then
would like do a whole fucking speech.
So why didn't you like
that
it?
Because they did it so many times, and whenever in like this moment of like revealing plot would come, I'd be like, yeah, but that's not the case, and then the person would be like, yeah, that's not the case. You were so close, but
You
not
hated
quite.
it when Robert would do it.
Yeah, I hated
You'd
it
be
when
like-
Robert did it.
You'd be like, not so fast. I
Yeah.
have more to add to that. And like, Becky doesn't like being treated like she's stupid. So that's what it felt like. You were being over-explained and you were like,
Yeah. It was dumb. I think Fraser didn't mind it as much. But for some reason I couldn't stand it. These are my
wanted to-
notes to the guys.
oh.
Because they
You don't
wanted
have
us
any
to
more
watch
notes?
it.
That's all your notes?
No, that's all my notes.
What's off the top of your head then? Let's
It was fucking
Get real wild here.
annoying.
Oh.
I didn't like to watch it. I didn't like any characters except for Ed Harris. I could have just like cut so much of it out, and then I didn't like the end. I didn't like the end.
Yeah.
Like after the end.
Hey, we have beer. To go back,
know?
yep, we'll get to the end, I think, in a little bit.
Okay,
too.
that's why I wasn't saying much.
To go back to the Maeve thing, and that whole crew shouldn't have been involved. They shouldn't have been a part of the entire thing.
I thought that it was kind of cool how at one point the like douchey FBI guy, no, he's not FBI, security.
Yeah.
The security guy.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, that dude. At the very end, whenever he lets Maeve go, and he's like giving her that speech.
That was their last twist.
Yeah. But it's cool because whenever you're like in the brain shit, and Dolores is looking at the books and she's looking at the code, she pulls out a book with his name on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That is interesting.
Because remember, we were like, what's that name?
So maybe he was based on a person at one point.
Yeah, and he's a robot.
Like at some point he died and he got replaced by a robot.
I thought that was like, I was
Just
like,
like
oh,
Bernard.
okay. That's kind of cool. Shogun World, yeah.
Yeah, Shogun,
I wasn't even into that. I was like, this is fucking
You could take them 100%
boring.
out of the story and they do nothing.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
no bearing on the overall plot.
Which sucks because that concept is so cool. Like having sort of like these archetype characters in this scenario, because you have to copy. You can't like recreate everything. But there was just so much interaction between them that just didn't make sense. I didn't think it was written well.
Not to be petty, but like I feel as though the writers wrote a character that was smarter than them, and it showed. Robert has this like grand plan that's like deep and intricate, and you're like, that's what my motivation for watching the show was. It was like, oh, what did he have planned all along? Like this was a 40-year plan that he waited and bided his time, and it turns out he was a good guy in the end because he really believed in their freedom. And then you find out that Maeve was a big part. Like we'd all kind of been thinking like Maeve is a part of his plan, and that's why he like somebody altered her code to let her, and that she was critical part. But then you see his awesome speech where he's like saying like you were the one, like you were my best creation and stuff. And then like, what did she do to progress anything?
She sort of started the whole, like, she started getting people questioning the realities. Didn't she?
But what did that do for anybody?
It started sort of like pulling at the seams. It started things unraveling.
The thing is, I think all of it could have happened without her doing that. I would even probably contend that, or I'm just going to guess, she was not a character in the books. I feel like she was shoehorned in there to be an extra element, just to add some more drama. And I think that most of what they were injecting her in was like really stretching, trying to make her relevant to the plot and to pull it, to reprogram some characters. They could have made it so that Robert reprogrammed any one of these characters himself. She didn't need to do it. And that said, Robert's plan, this genius, like most of his plan was based on like luck. How many times did Bernard almost die? And he's the critical element that like unlocks the whole thing, that makes it all happen. But I'm saying like all the time that it takes him to get to this moment where he meets Robert inside the other world, where he goes into the head thing, zaps himself through.
Just
Okay,
the
so
original
just the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure Crichton wrote himself a book and then made it into a movie. He's crazy like that. But all of that gets him to that point to talk to Robert was all like any like random time he could have been shot, and none of this would have come to fruition. And Robert's plan that he spent 40 years crafting had seemingly no fail-safes to. The thing is, like, when you think about what was Robert's true plan, like the last dying thing before he handed it over to the mechanisms that he'd put in place, was to have all those Indians attack. Which why did they attack? they were already ready to do so, right? Like that had nothing to do with Maeve. Maeve was already peacing out. She was going to the real world.
That's true.
That's what we thought his plan for her. That would have made sense. That his plan for her was to get her to leave. She was a Lazarus plan. Like if they didn't escape Westworld, if this didn't work out, at least the smartest, most intelligent, like Uber character what do you call them? Hosts that he'd ever created would be out in the real world and see how far she gets.
Right.
But it was almost like his plan B or his side plan, just to have like hedges bets. Instead, she comes back and
looks for her daughter,
and
who she knows is not her daughter.
Season 2, I've said, feels like from beginning to end a show that knows that it's been picked up for 5 more seasons. It is not only biding its time, it is like stalling for time to try to draw this shit out.
Yeah.
Side note, logical note, since I seem to like to belabor these. How the fuck is Mount Fuji in the park?
Right.
Trying to just get over the logic how this world works. Why does the weather, like, I guess maybe we can assume that this like Uber company, like with so many resources, is able to control the weather. What do they call that?
That was his
Technology?
plan for her. She made the choice to stay. Okay, yeah.
That they're able to modify the weather and never have it anything but the same weather all the time. Okay, fine. I wrote that for them, by the way. I have to assume that. They never put in even a single line of dialogue that could actually explain that away. Which they could have, just to make us feel better, us like overthinkers. The other thing, though, Mount Fuji, if it is in there, to scale, in this park, they were somehow able to terraform fucking Mount Fuji. How is it not visible from Westworld? Which is a walkable distance, apparently.
I mean, it took them a few days.
Mount Fuji would be visible.
But it would take us a few days to walk to Mount Fuji, and we can see it from where we live.
You guys think it's a future projection hologram technology? Another says that it's probably closer and not as big. It's just simulated size, like a model. And this is reaching, I think. Especially the way that they showed it in the backdrop, the way it had clouds around it, and like that it was snow-peaked and stuff. It's like... But you could go on all day about the logic about Westworld. And I'm grateful that they just kind of threw logic to the wind and said it's much more interesting if it's physical based instead of virtual world based like every episode of Black Mirror. Because it's just more interesting with the physical element in place. And it's intrinsic to the plot.
Yeah.
I think they could have written some things to make it work better, but... anyways, going back to Maeve again, which is my biggest problem with the whole thing. I was just waiting through those scenes to fucking end. How come they keep bringing the redheaded douche with them?
Yeah! For real.
How is he an asset?
Scientist, dude?
How is he an asset to Maeve and her people and her cause?
Yeah.
He's actually a
How did he
liability.
live?
He's actually, like, multiple times tried to sabotage the whole thing. And he's shown as he talks, that he wants to do it. That he'll do it again.
Yeah.
And, like, he's just biding his time for a chance to fuck over everything.
Yeah.
Why are they bringing him? Is he, like, did the writers think he's a fan favorite? People love this guy. He's so hilarious. They love him. So, like, we'll make sure that he stays alive and that he comes along for the ride.
And almost all of his lines.
Can you turn this? What is going on here?
I don't know.
How do you?
I can just
Becky's thing is just going off like crazy.
Fuck, what was I gonna say?
Best moment.
Oh, all of his lines were shitty.
Oh yeah, he's a shitty person. He hates seeing him.
So
I don't want him
horribly.
around. He made sense at one point to be in the plot. He's just a waste of space after that. But so is her entire plot. One of the best scenes in the entire show, though, was why does this happen? Where they come to the realization that, what does she say to the Asian guy? And then he starts going like, she's like, no, you're not. Like,
oh, yeah.
What was that exact
was
exchange?
amazing.
For a split second, he thinks he
thought
might
he
be
was a host.
a
He
host.
was like,
Then he starts moving like a robot.
just like, no.
And I was saying, like, that could have been, if that wasn't, like, that was a perfect example of something that if it isn't delicately held with the timing being perfect, it looks like a stupid joke.
Yeah.
That doesn't belong. It was done with, the actor gets so much credit. It was done with such subtlety.
Yeah.
And just, it was just so perfectly timed. And her response to tell him, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Was so perfectly timed that it was so believable and human that, like, it was just the best.
That reminds me of another thing that I fucking hated. Whenever Maeve is, like, lying there and her neck's all open and shit, and the guy working on her is like, I'm just gonna up the pain.
Yeah. Yep.
Why
Vindictive.
are all these people
Horrible.
such fucking terrible people?
Yeah.
Like,
he's like, this is gonna hurt you a lot. I don't need to do this, but I'm gonna do it. So,
Yeah.
like, see ya.
between him and the CEO woman, I was just like, their motives
Yeah, they
didn't
just-
make any sense.
Same with the guy who comes in addition to the CEO woman, who's like the fixer, the
Yeah,
cleaner-upper,
yeah.
and they're all just such angry assholes. Like, they enjoy the idea of these hosts suffering, and like, you put in one character like that, I can accept it and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, that guy's a crazy. And like, in this world where this type of a thing exists, you could see like the worst in humanity, where some sociopaths come in and really get off on it. For the majority of
And
the
the guy
people
who
to be
is
like
butt
that,
fucking the host as well.
butt
like,
fucking.
Yeah. There's
Who was
one.
that?
Just one of the side
Oh
dudes.
yeah, one
like,
of the
there was
guys in
just-
the down below. Yeah, they're not just getting sexual gratification from them. They're like sort of reveling in the idea that like, you're not. This is gonna suck for you. Like, it was
Yeah.
just really weird to write that many angry, horrible people in this world, in this workplace. Maybe it's a company culture thing. Maybe that's the problem. They have a culture
Maybe.
problem. The fish rots from the head. She is just, I can't, I feel bad for the actress because I think she did a good job, I guess.
Maeve?
No, I love Maeve.
I loved her in season 1.
No, I'm
And
talking
it's clear
about
she is a good
the
actress.
CEO
Oh, the
woman,
CEO woman.
Lips McGee. Just, I can't stand looking at her.
Yeah.
I hate her with a passion.
Oh, CEO or Ellie?
The CEO, the like,
Okay.
she's got big lips
Yeah.
and she's black.
Yeah.
She's the CEO, and she's just so like, oh God, I hate her.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm watching the next Men in Black. I think I'm off that actress.
The
I
next-
can't.
Oh, she's in
No
Men in
offense to
Black.
the actress, but I just like, I need
Charlotte.
like a 5-year break from her face.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I hate her with a
then,
passion, and not
when
in a
they
good way.
merged her,
With Dolores.
so it's like, it's my ultimate hate.
Yeah,
like,
it was
she's
the perfect
talking
storm.
monotone and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
the
Wyatt.
perfect storm of
I was
like
like-
hate.
I will not watch the next season. I would like to forget this season existed because I loved season 1.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't, I mean, so you're not going to watch season 3 with me then?
I don't think I can. Like,
Yeah.
I really,
I'm gonna.
really.
It's on a
do
short
like
leash
it.
for me because it's kind of moving into a new era. They're gonna be like out. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch much. Like, if it starts impressing me right off the bat, season 3, maybe I'll keep watching. But they've explored what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
I mean, I know I'll sit down and watch the first episode with you, but like, I might have to peace out. And I don't. I'm usually the one that will sit through anything. Mm-hmm. Tessa Thompson is a really good actress, though.
I liked Ed Harris's daughter, and you hated her.
Ed Harris's daughter? No.
I thought she wasn't bad.
I thought it was. She reminds me of someone I know, and I couldn't like shake that person. But I thought that their story was really interesting.
Until the moment where it all went to hell, where he kills her, and then he like realizes to like, maybe we can chalk this up to the fact that he's coming undone, that he's just going a little bit nutty, and that he can't see logic. But why did he think it was that big of a stretch that she could have known these things, having seen this thing?
Yeah.
He knows where he put it.
But
He knows that
doesn't.
anybody could have found that.
He doesn't like remember that happened. His wife killed himself. So like,
I thought he had a flashback where he's literally remembering that he put that thing to the side.
I don't think so. I think that was just for us to know. I don't think it was his flashback.
In addition, it wasn't believable that his wife would kill herself based on the images that she saw on the playback of what he does in
Well, he's
Westworld.
like scalping. I mean, Dolores.
Really? Like, that's the worst thing that in her imagination. She talks, there's a line of dialogue that she has at one point where she says, she's like, I don't know what you do in there in the Westworld. Like, she knows that Westworld exists. No doubt it's part of lots of conversations among people of what they do in there. All these rich people that she hangs out with and what you can do. In her wildest imagination, she couldn't imagine that her husband ended up playing the bad guy and scalped a person at some point. Like, that's horrific to her. In a world where Hitler is in history and that she's no doubt read about his atrocities, she sees this and is like, like, I could see if maybe the playback, like, I guess him dragging Dolores towards the barn could, like, insinuate and her to believe that, like, oh my God, like, I had a feeling maybe, but I can't even believe that he's, like, committing sexual violence in there and that's how far he's gone in that world as a bad guy. And that makes her want to commit suicide. But, like, the majority of what they're showing there of him just shooting Teddy and stuff like that, like, he's shooting a random dude that isn't alive. Like, that's
I think it was mostly the, like, image of him pulling Dolores to the barn.
I think they shouldn't have shown the tablet. I think they should have shown her reaction to it.
Yeah,
and then we could have imagined that when he went super dark, the day that he saw Dolores talking to another man and realized, you know, like, that not only was his heart broken, his entire world kind of crumbled. That he would go so bad that he would do some really bad stuff. And then I could believe, like, a look of horror on her face as she, like, reads or looks at this.
And knowing that...
And then our imagination could come up with, like...
Perhaps it's been going on for so long, and...
Yeah. Then our imagination could have come up with some really crazy shit that we hadn't seen and believed he's been really horrible. And now that he's older and more... Like, he's done it all. Now he's a cooler, older man who's like, I've done all the evil shit. Now I'm just trying to find out what the end of the story is. That would be believable. But like, have some imagination, writers. Come on. But, it's too bad. Like, a lot of it was just...
I'm very happy that people quite enjoyed all of it.
Kind of makes me want to go watch the old TV show called, what's the show where they arrive on an island by biplane and their greatest fantasies get to be played out when they arrive. Like, anything
Westworld,
goes.
1972?
No, it's like an old TV show.
Oh yeah, you did say TV show.
And it makes me want to see it. I'd always heard about it but never seen it, but it's like, and something always goes wrong, but they always learn something about themselves or something. Sounds like that. TV show. And it's a new scenario every episode. Is it Fantasy Island? Yeah, I want to see Fantasy Island, see how it compares, or if there was any inspiration drawn from it.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, you say it's more the fact that everyone else thought William was such a good guy and that everyone thought she was crazy.
So if she really...
I think that part probably... Like, him saying to her, like, you're right, you see me, you know. I feel like that should have been the, like, point where she was like, whoa.
Him admitting it to her like that, so candidly, I could see that having an emotional impact on her, but it was they had to add in this element of the thing, and finding the thing. Yeah. Her finding the thing. Like, it shouldn't have been so crazy. Like, she is sure of his dark heart, and then just seeing it on thing drives her to suicide. Is just hard to believe it.
I guess maybe because, like, he admits to her and then there's this solid confirmation. Maybe. And her own daughter was going to send her to rehab, but she did need to go to rehab, so.
But she said no.
That's such a good song.
One of my favorite characters the girl
with the snake.
The snake tattoo got ruined kind of towards the end. Too many cool lines, too many action hero lines.
Yep.
She went from being mysterious to boring.
Yes.
They stopped doing the makeup on her eyes. They gave her bloodshot eyes. So now she's just like kind of just looks like a pale woman instead of like this really crazy like.
Oh my God! The shots of them like going through their loop of shooting up the bank. Oh man. So fucking good.
Yeah, like that's what I'm in it for, is this like the scenario and the world.
And how it can be interrupted just by anyone that is coming into this world, any of the, like,
Hosts.
humans. No, any of the humans.
Or humans, the guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who the fuck's Williams?
Who the fuck's William?
Logan. Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. It's all... It's... And again, we're so passionate because we liked it so much.
I loved the first season. It was so good.
We've seen, like, it's still entertaining, and I've seen stuff that is way, way worse. But in those things, I just stopped watching them.
Yeah.
This thing, I was invested enough because I loved it, and that makes you more angry, sort of.
Thank you for bringing that up. The Paint It Black, like how they took modern songs and made them like...
The anachronisms.
Yeah,
Didn't
gritty and western. Oh my god, that I thought was amazing. I love it when like any...
I think the creators or
does
writers said that they were taking some inspiration from BioShock Infinite even. They said that.
Really?
That the BioShock Infinite was an inspiration for some of the way that they did that.
That's cool.
All right, so that's our thoughts.
Yeah.
There's a little Becky rant, guys. I love that you had notes.
Of course I had notes. I'm not gonna fucking remember anyone's name or why I was so angry.
What made you angry?
I was furious. And then we watched... Fraser was
I tried to get her in a better mood.
Yeah, Fraser was trying to like calm me down, and so he was like, okay, well, let's watch Robot Love, whatever the fuck. And he put on an episode and it was shit. And I was like...
She didn't like Robot.
This one?
The one episode.
This is what you're putting on to make me feel better?
So we watched Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and then
And she loved that.
Calm down a little bit. It was apparently some of the Robot Love, whatever. Some of them are good. But I think what we watched...
The first episode of Blow by Blow with Becky Blow.
Yeah, man, that was a rough fucking night. I was like pissed watching the last episode. I was like... Really, you're gonna waste my time with this bullshit right now?
Isn't she an asshole? Like, God. Does she enjoy anything? Can't she let any people enjoy things? She have to break it all down? Jeez, man. Yeah. I'm just here to have fun. All right. See you guys later. Thanks for watching our mini review. Goodbye.